Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us this morning for 1 Million Cups. I'm the MC here, Trezzy, and also one of the co-organizers. We're going to go through and do some introductions real quick, a couple of notes about sponsorship, and then we'll kick things over to our presenter, so I'll kick us off. Again, my name's Trezzy. I'm a software engineering consultant. I haven't done this in so long I had to remember what my title was. Yeah, what do I do? Josh, you're up.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
That was it this time.
Good morning. I'm Josh Halling. I'm also one of the co-organizers here at 1 Million Cups. My firm, Rootstock Partners, works with entrepreneurs and executives to get a software product strategy right.
And I'm Chandra Miller-Feenan. I'm the executive director of Starting Block Madison, which is the entrepreneurial hub upstairs on the second, third, and fourth floor. And we are happy to collaborate in putting on 1 Million Cups. If anybody is interested in seeing Starting Block, most of you I know, so you've already seen Starting Block a million times, but we're happy to do tours afterwards. I have two announcements real quickly. One of them is the service for Amy Gannon, which is the co-founder of the Doyen Group, is next week, January 31st from 5 to 8 p.m. At the Sylvie next door. Amy and her 13-year-old Jocelyn were killed in a helicopter accident over the Christmas holidays. And so this is a memorial service for the Starting Block, Doyens, Madison startup community, anyone who Amy and or Jocelyn's touched to commemorate them. If you need more information about that, we put it out on the Starting Block newsletter. If you're not already getting the Starting Block newsletter, it is twice a month, and it's I think the best way to find out where events like 1 Million Cups and who's presenting. You can find that really easily. And lastly, we have a launch of a Starting Block company on February 6th, which is ECIO. I'm hoping to get them to present at 1 Million Cups shortly, but it is a platform to help nonprofit boards and executive directors run their boards more efficiently, particularly in a secure way for if you have an investment board and an investment committee for nonprofits. Those are my two announcements. If you have information and want to come to the ECIO launch upstairs, we can get that information to you as well.
All right, hi everybody. Steve Claude, co-founder of 32 Auctions, which is a website for hosting and managing fun, easy, and successful silent auctions.
Kurt Peterson, the other co-founder of 32 Auctions.
Dennis Barnum with Burrow Ventures.
Rachel Pod with I9 Sports.
Michael Potts with Peterson Technology.
Good morning, I'm Jesse Russell with Big Picture Research and Consulting. We're a data science as a service group, mostly helping clients better align their resources with their actual goals and mission.
Jesus Velasco, founder of Cantera IT Solution.
I'm Mark Yarhoff. I work for Starting Block with Chandra.
Angie Gilman, I'm with American Provenance.
I'm Dan Anderson. I'm the other co-founder of 32 Auctions. No, I work for Baker Tilly.
I'm still Peter Gaddy, and I'm still a wealth management advisor. And dressed the part today, I might say. Yeah, I apologize for looking like the man today. Sorry about that.
But the dude.
Yeah, they do today, right?
We already knew you were the man.
Goes without saying.
Good morning, I'm Heather Ewing. I'm with White Box Commercial Property Group, retail commercial real estate, so I help tenants buy or lease office or retail space.
Hi, I'm Robin Kitson. I'm with my husband and I own Driftless Chocolates. It's a brand new chocolate company, handmade, artisan created truffles, bonbons, barks, and caramels. And I was invited here by Peter to kind of check this out and see what other people are doing. So.
All right, so now this is where I was supposed to go. We didn't practice, so.
I'm sorry.
All right, so I'm Derek Gebler. I'm founder of Field 59, and I'm a digital media strategist.
I'm DP Knutson. I help people discover, craft, and communicate their true nonfiction brand stories via the most effective channels possible. Advertising, marketing, etc.
I'm Lucas Rodriguez, work for Reach Research, with clinical trials, dogs.
I'm James Cademan. I have Calls on Calls, a shared reception service for small businesses.
All right, so quick thank you to our sponsors. Starting Block for their continued support, and Dream Bank for this wonderful space that we use almost every Wednesday. Also, as Derek mentioned, if you haven't already, go grab the 1 Million Cups app and check in. Help us keep track of how many people we have showing up. With that, we'll kick it over to our presenter. Let's hear it from him.
Thank you everybody for coming and hearing about my business. I really appreciate you all attending, and I'm very honored. So my business is called All Around Music Online Lessons. Essentially what it is the new and hassle-free way of doing lessons. So essentially is if you go to any other places, you need to sign up and then you have to talk to a front desk or a teacher. The way my business works is, say if you wanted to just learn guitar, on my website you'll be able to see what kind of schedules that's open and instantly book your lesson. And we'll go through that in the future. Now, what I want to show you is my background. I mean, my background is I was a teacher for over 10 years. So I was a public school teacher and a private school teacher. And what you're seeing right here is pretty much how I wanted to change how performance worked. If you look, everybody has keyboards and then guitars, basses, and drums. It was not, I wanted to do something different than orchestra and band, and it worked out really well. So this was in Florida, South Florida. We both came from South Florida. Then I moved to Madison, Wisconsin as to see a different way of living and then incorporate this. So I came into the public school. Unfortunately, there was a lot of, differences on such things, and I went on to venture on my own at that point. So what you're seeing right here is pretty much the modern day of students. I felt this was a good representation of how students are learning now. Now, there is a misspelling of focus right here that they wrote, but it's crucial what they put right here. Classrooms need to be learner focused. And if you look right there, you see a little guy centered around them. Now, when it comes to the public schools now, or modern, it's a lot of group-based. And group-based is great, but there's a lot of stuff where people are learning at different levels. And they need the individual learning. And so what I'm trying to take my company is in that vision to be able to have every single student have their way of learning and providing teachers from all over the country that best suits their needs. So you'll see YouTube, critical thinking, and by that we create a better future. Now I incorporated my educational side of music teaching along with my technology side. So throughout my whole life, I was building computers, programming. See, I was making a Raspberry Pi to play video games because growing up I loved video games. So I wanted to create something that's like that. And then also the audio. When I was in high school, I started to do production, and that played a huge part in what created this immersion when it comes to online learning. And you see a museum. So I love this quote from Dave Chappelle. It was a skit. Modern problems require modern solutions. And then that's crucial because we are in a time that education is taking a different toll. You have in classrooms where behavior is on the rise. It's not because they're a different generation. It's because what's going on with them at home to now and the classroom are two different things. And we have to adapt and prepare them for the future. And so therefore I created All Around Music Online Lessons. Right now, as I know music as my strength and technology, it's doing well for with me and then all the students that are music, but sooner or later it'll come into all around lessons where it's going to be all different types of art, music, dance would be a situation that you can do. So by doing this private lessons, I took out the issues where when you go in person, compared to online. One is driving. We live in Midwest, right? And so we have to deal with snow. And then you have to deal with hobbies coming home. Parents don't have to worry about that. All they do is stay home, their kids take their lesson. Some parents are there with them to see what they're doing, and that's awesome. But they learn independently how to take their lesson at home. The front desk, the hidden fees that involve when it comes to online lessons. I mean, not online lessons, the in-person lessons, the booking, the scheduling. The person has to be there. On my website, it's self-book, 24 hours. You can book any time that you want. You can cancel and reschedule within the 12 hours. And then another issue is students are not provided, if they do in person, they're not provided tangible resources, because that's hard to do it when you have lessons one after the other. So it's easier to incorporate that in the lesson. So here are the benefits of what my service provides. And then here's the steps on how to do it. Yeah, sure. So to get started, it's four easy steps. One is you head to the website, you click book online, you see your instrument, and I'm going to show you how it works. And then from there, once you book your lesson and pay for the lesson, then you are provided a Zoom meeting ID. And then when it's your lesson, you have your teacher right there. You don't have to worry about which teacher, like other competitors, like which teacher should my students do. No, because every teacher that I hire is specialized in teaching and providing the learning. And then connecting. I put this one as a prime example because I believe this one is a huge thing, a huge example of how things are changing. She's a 4th grader, and she has her iPad here. Now, there's other supplements, apps that she used, but also learning. So, from there, for only 2 months, she is able to play all her skills from GED, and there's more technical, and also music within 2 months. A 4th grader. And the funny thing about it is, at home, she doesn't have internet. What her mom does is she puts her hotspot on her cell phone. So the hotspot goes to her phone. Now think about nowadays, 5G is on the rise. So therefore, Wi-Fi, you're not hardly going to have Wi-Fi when 5G is everywhere within 2 months. And I thought that was really, really cool. A student that's taking lessons with not having Wi-Fi or internet at home. And she lives in Virginia. And so what I want to do is I want to show you how the website works. Sorry about that. What's going on? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Okay, so this is how the website looks like. Now on the main page, what you can do is you can either go 30, 45, and an hour. So say you have, I want to do 30 minutes, you click on book now, or you can do it over there. So you click on that. It'll take you to which 30 minutes you would like. Sooner or later, you're going to be added more instruments. So let's say guitar. And then you'll see the schedule. So say Tuesday works for you for Wednesday. And then you'll see the time. You click the time. And then you pay. And then once you pay, then you get to receive an email with the code. So I started this business last year when I was a private teacher, but I wanted to do online at that point. So within 6 months, I was able to become full-time. And it's crazy how now this year, where I'm starting to hire more teachers, because I finally figure out how to make sure I can keep quality with the teachers. These are all the students that my teacher is teaching at the moment. Sooner or later, we'll expand to other states. And I'm just seeing it's still a shock to me how this started last year and how much we're growing. So, anyways, that is all around music online lessons. Yes?
So, when you kind of slipped the word competitors in at some point during your presentation without really talking about your competitive environment.
Okay.
So I actually have two questions. One is, what makes you different than your competitors? What's your kind of value add proposition? The other thing is, as a potential student, how do I know? In other words, what I really want to do is I want to go online and see, maybe I want to take guitar lessons, but I don't want classical guitar, I don't want folk guitar, I don't want bluegrass guitar, I want jazz guitar, but I don't want like fusion jazz guitar. I want, standard jazz guitar.
Jeez,
okay? I don't ask for much.
So
I'm giving up 30 clams for this, okay?
So that's a good question. What happens is when you're going to the book out checkout,
That's true, that's good.
and you have a message, be like, what kind of guitars or what kind of did you want to learn? And from that information, I know, okay, I had this teacher that'll be able to work with you. That's happening in the background, because all that you see is, I know I have a lesson at this time. You trust in us to get you the teacher that
So you have to actually commit for this slot, and I'll say, well, whoever you guys get, this is what I want, but here's my slot, now go find somebody. Is that kind of how the model works? Is that what I'd be like, I'm available at, on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So I book Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and here's what I want to learn. At the point that I book, I really don't know who my teacher is going to be, right? So, but I'll tell you, this is kind of what I want to learn, and you say, okay, no problem, we'll get somebody for that slot.
Yep.
That's how that works?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is everything online, or one-on-one with teachers rather, or is some of it pre-programmed?
No, it's all one-on-one.
All one-on-one.
So I have, do you have a question?
I do some information.
Okay.
So how about consistency between teachers? If Pete asked, you book on this teacher this week and next week you get a different one and they have a little bit different styles. Is that confusing, or how do you maintain consistency for the student?
So the maintain consistency is with the booking of the slot, right? Is the availability of the teacher. Now what makes it easier is I'm hiring teachers from all over the country instead of just Madison.
So you can request one teacher after you just go up?
Yeah, so you can continue working with the same teacher. So say if your first lesson, you really like the teacher, you can constantly continue booking with the same teacher. So you can either have the discounted monthly plan, which you reserved your slot. So every time that you have that Wednesday, you have your teacher there. So it books his slot, his or her slot for that weekly kind of thing. Yes?
That was kind of part one to my question, and then since I also work with kids, how are you vetting them, or how do you ensure technology safety in terms of communication? If mom and dad aren't there,
So technology safety?
Well, in terms of conversation, I mean, what happens online? I mean, it is a true concern.
So what happened is, one is the lessons are recorded. So if it's a concern, one, the recording of the lessons can be parental to see how the lessons are, and then as for me as an owner, I would have the recording of the teacher as well to see. Yes.
Thank you.
The follow-up question: what happens if the teachers either goes down sick or some reason can be?
Then you can that itself is able to reschedule on that as well. Yes.
How do you recruit teachers, and how do you have specific training for them?
Yes. So I would be one. It would be personality characteristic training, and also seeing how their experience as teachers. Since I have the country, my direction, my type of teachers would be something as in public school teachers first, before a private school teacher, because a public school teacher deals with all types of kids, all types of students, and is able easily to adapt based on that knowledge, because it takes a lot to be a public school music teacher or a teacher as well. So that is my goal. So the teacher that I have right now, he's a public school teacher, and so what happens is he's teaching in the morning, and then in the evening he teaches. Yes.
Curious about what you're doing for customer acquisition. Like, where are you finding the students?
That's a good one. All right, so my two major ones is one, Thumbtack, and the second one is Amazon. So if you go on Amazon and you go to home services and you're looking for online lessons, you'll see my business on there. So I would have, so Amazon would say, hey, someone purchased 4 lessons, and then what I do is with my teachers, depending on what time they work for them, and sometimes I have information on that, I can hook them, just like that.
And what is Thumbtack?
Thumbtack is
home services.
Yeah, it's kind of like leads. So say if someone wants lessons, right? They go to Thumbtack, and then all online or in person will send quotes to them, and then so the parent. So I was.
This is a platform you can go and find many services from housing, construction,
yes. So
everything.
So those are my 2 ways at least. Now I've done Google Ads and Facebook, and I feel like me, selling my business works better at the moment until I actually, can hire a salesman or a marketing team that knows how to do that. But I'm doing just fine right now. But I want to continue. Yes.
Can you talk about how the teachers get paid?
How the teachers get paid? Yes. So within the website, they're sent with their direct deposit through the website. So So what happens is the main goes to the website. From there, I would split it, the cost, directly to the teacher.
So they only get paid if the lesson is scheduled.
Huh?
They only get paid if the lesson is scheduled.
And what's the split for the teachers, right? Like if I'm paying $50 for a 60-minute lesson, what's the value for me as a teacher? How much am I getting out of that?
So you get about it really depends on what type of teacher.
Okay.
So I can't say that this is the base pay. So It all depends on the experience of how many instruments that you can play, what is your experience of it. Now say if you're going only piano, right? Mm-hmm. Then that's going to be different than someone who's a multi-instrumentalist. I can really, so it all varies, yes.
I'm curious of your experience of using Amazon as a marketplace. What are the advantages and disadvantages that you've experienced?
The advantages using Amazon? One, I hope Amazon doesn't change it, but the thing is, when there's a transaction when it comes to my website, that's one, Thumbtack takes a cut, right? If the teacher comes with, if the parent says okay, or me messaging, that costs money, plus PayPal takes a cut. Those two Amazon only takes a cut. So Amazon's cut is much less than these two. So, and then from then on, save Amazon the first month they pay, then after that they can go on the website. And then that's their month. So the first time is their connection, and then after that, the website.
So Amazon collects for you and pays you? And
yes.
You distribute to the teacher and they keep their cut?
So back to the teacher vetting stuff, are you the only one vetting the teachers? Do you have a team that's working on that? How's that?
So at the moment, I am. I'm the only one. So the goal is by the end of this year is to have about 10 teachers, 10 to 20. I'm keeping at 10. Within 2 months, I'm gonna have. Within a month, I'm gonna have three teachers, and then from there, my goal by the end of the year is gonna be about 10 to 20 teachers. Maybe it's going to be more, but yes.
You get a lot of recurring students, so they
yes, for sure.
And then they keep going and going.
Yep.
Do you have metrics on your renewal rate? Just out of curiosity.
The metrics? No, I don't.
For renewals?
How many sign up for a month versus individual lessons? Do you know that?
For 90%. They do because it's a discounted monthly. So if they know that a lesson is usually recurring, they would go with the discounted monthly plan, which also includes the reserving the slot. So it serves two people, right? You're talking about ages from 20 to 30 that just want to do a lesson with no commitment. Then you have instant booking, which you find a slot that works for you and then take your lesson. And then you also have the ones that cater to the ones that want the weekly. And so, yes.
You mentioned recording of the sessions, which seems like a really big advantage of this model. How are you handling access to the recordings? Is that through your website, or is it just like up to you and your Zoom client to make sure?
So it'll be it's via cloud base, where the student can see it, they can view it.
So if I were a student, would I come back here, or are you saying I go someplace else and
it would be
just have a link to
a link to your yes.
What's the percentage of kids versus adults taking lessons?
That's about, I would say, for kids, it's about 60%.
Who's your oldest student? What's your oldest?
My oldest student, about 74. So, yeah.
You still get in?
Green light.
Yeah, but what I really love, about my business is one is like I like to compare it to Uber, because when you get Uber, you're not really seeing what kind of what driver you have. Uber does that, right? All you care about is going from point A to point B. Everything of how Uber assess their drivers, the credibility of those drivers, they handle that. And that's what I'm doing with lessons. Everything the credibility of the teachers, what kind of teachers, and how I assess those teachers and make sure they're accountable, that's on my part, not on the customers. So yes.
So that would seem to be a huge competitive advantage to say, well, we've already vetted teachers according to some protocol. In other words, nobody cares if you vet the teacher. Who are you, right? I mean, I'm sorry, but like
for sure.
half a country away, what do I care who you are, right?
Yes.
But if you develop a published protocol and say our teachers meet expect and it's on me to certify them, then why would you limit that to 10? In other words, I would want to, if I were you, because you're booking, you're basically a volume business, right?
Yeah.
You want to connect a potential student with a potential teacher, and you, as long as the teacher's vetted and the student is already prepaid, like, what do you care if you have 10 teachers or 1,000 teachers? It just creates opportunity for you.
That is
now it's more appealing.
And that is something that I was contemplating as well. Because what I was worried about is if I have all these teachers, but not enough students for them, how are the teachers going to feel about that? How are they going to feel about that website? Are they going to feel that website is reliable? I remember there's this email when it came to Meet Production that it's like, hey, why don't you jump on my website, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to get, the client's already booking, didn't get anything. So what credibility does that website have? You know, if I'm a teacher and I'm not getting any students on here, what credibility is this website? Why should I be with this website? Yeah.
Something that I've toiled with in my process, I'm a franchise, so it's a little different, but having exposure to the instructors on social media, giving them the story, giving them the background. So as you grow your teacher, list or whatever it may be, to maybe have a section on your website to give description of like a photo of the person and a small biography about the person, and then that can ultimately create maybe an instant connection for some families and increase your book of business too.
So the model that I'm going is kind of the opposite of that. So so you have compares like Musica and Take Lessons. That's what they do. So they have area, and then they'll have their teachers, and then they have the ratings of those teachers. But the problem, the issue is, one is you're judging the teacher before you take the lesson with that teacher.
That's true.
So that's one, and secondly is the whole rating system. You can rig the whole rating system, and that's a huge problem when it comes to the other competitors. I was a teacher for Take Lessons, and on that website I got students that would email me, but they were fraudulent customers. So I had to take precaution and never did. So therefore, again, it goes back to what credibility does that, as a teacher or as students, have with the website.
You're saying like Google reviews, meaning?
Their own website. Their own on their website. They have their own.
So saying testimonials here. Is that what you're? Because you can control that piece.
The testimonials.
Right. I mean, yeah. I'm assuming that you do some sort of net promoter score or some sort of. I don't know. I'm just saying based on my experience.
But you only take testimonials from actual students, right? I mean, it's not crowdsourced.
Yes, and then, so I have testimonials when it comes. So if you look on this page, thank you for all these questions. I really love them. So this will be, and this is one video of a testimonial, and then here's another one, and then verbally that parents said about the lessons or students.
I checked out your website
one more question.
What feedback I've been given about my testimonials is people want to know where they're from. So like Marisol B, where is she from? Or Tim M, where is he from?
Thank you for that suggestion. So I can do that for sure. So majority of them are going to be on thumbtack. Majority of them. So I'll put thumbtack. Is it like that kind of credibility?
Yeah, if it's like from a specific region. Like my area is very localized. So if you are nationwide, if somebody's from Texas or California or Wisconsin, whatever it may be.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'll change that.
All right, well, let's hear it for Chris. Chris, you can be hanging out for a little bit after the presentation. If anybody wants to come up and say, hey, grab business cards, maybe he'll be here. With that, thank you everybody for joining us this morning. Quick thank you one more time to Starting Block for their continued support that we make for the space. If you haven't already, grab the 1 Million Cups app and go check in. And everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday.